In this video, I'm going to look at what I believe is the original idea behind the Pictish Z-rod and double disc symbol. If you've seen my other video about the V-rod and crescent symbol, you'll know that the overarching hypothesis that I'm putting forward and looking to test with this is the idea that these symbols were essentially demonstrations of a certain amount of geometric learning, which the Pictish stonemasons wanted to broadcast. In that other video, to summarise very briefly, I showed how, in accordance with Hippocrates' theorem on the quadrature of the lune, the triangle bounded by the V-rod has the same area as the crescent. So I proposed that the V-rod and crescent symbol was used as an emblem of learning by Pictish stonemasons. Now I'm turning my attention to the Z-rod and double disc and asking the same question: might it also be an emblem of geometric learning? It's found in a number of forms on quite a few of the Pictish stones. So the first thing that struck me with the Z-rod and double disc was to do with how the Z-rod looks like diagrams illustrating a number of Euclid's propositions, specifically those in Book 1 of Euclid's Elements to do with parallel lines, from proposition 27 through to 34. Manuscripts of Euclid that existed in the period when these Pictish symbol stones were inscribed included these very diagrams. They're illustrating a number of things to do with parallel lines. For example, how where one line runs across two parallel lines, the alternate angles are equal. However, I decided that this must be far from the full story of the Z-rod and double disc, because for one thing it's too elementary. It's not on par with what I saw for the V-rod and crescent. And then I started to think about tangents for circles, and the more I thought about it, the more I found a very good matchup between certain features of the Z-rod and double disc symbols and the constructions and illustrative proofs of a number of different types of tangents for circles. And ultimately I realised that yes, this is it. This is definitely what it's about, at least at the point of origin of the symbol. It's as if someone has said, right, I want you to draw, for these two circles, I want you to draw the internal and external tangents. Now, an internal tangent is where the tangent line will pass between the two circles. We know that there's going to be a right angle to a radius here, somewhere around here, right angle to a radius somewhere around here, then it would run up here. We have already the Z-rod, there's the Z-rod, and the double disc. This is a symbol you often find in these two angles on the Z-rod, and I think it's there to say, look at these two angles, they're the same by virtue of the fact that this line is parallel to this line and this straight line runs across them. Don't need the hair straighteners for this particular diagram. Now then, paper, first thing. Well, that's handy. I didn't actually think about this, but I have got a screwdriver there so I could tighten that up. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Not changing distance. Should have done that a long time ago. There we go. Now then, how does one create the internal tangent line? Well, what one does is actually, let's just rewind a bit. So what we do know is the method for creating a tangent from a point to the circumference of a circle. But what if that point was midway between the two circles? There we have it. So all we have to do if we are starting with the two circles is find the midpoint. We can do that same process using that undulating line of the two half circles, like so. So let's draw in those external tangents as well by means of those perpendiculars, and then we can put in the Z-rod, and we already have our two discs. There we have the Z rod and double disc. Now, that undulating line with the two half circles, well, what creature undulates in nature? It's the snake. So if we were to draw in that snake, then we suddenly have the explanation for that curious version, that variant of the Z rod, which is the Z rod and serpent. And I love that sense of something which has been a curious oddity for hundreds of years suddenly making sense. Now, another variant we see is where the discs are concentric circles. And this is actually, I think, from the alternative method for creating tangents, which uses two concentric circles. And then another thing we see is the curved dumbbell handle shape on some of these variants. And what I'm demonstrating here is how I believe that is all about demonstrating knowledge of the creation of tangential circles. So instead of just a line that's tangential to a circle, you have a circle that's tangential to a circle, which has a practical benefit for someone who creates geometric patterns, because they're often aesthetically pleasing, creating seamless undulating curves. So there we have it. You are now initiated into the mysteries of the ancient Z rod and double disc symbol.